Hey everyone, it's Alexander Robinson. Welcome to the channel, and this is my retro review for The Mummy's Hand, and The Mummy's Tomb, and The Mummy's Ghost, and The Mummy's Curse, all of which were released throughout the 1940s and are part of the Kharis mummy movies. Now I'm going to be doing things a little different. When I set out to review the Universal monster movies that I have not covered, my plan was to do individual reviews for each movie. I can't do that with the Kharis mummy movies for two reasons. One, they're all very short. Each of these movies run for at least an hour. I mean, the longest one is The Mummy's Hand at an hour and 6 minutes. That's right, in the time it takes to watch Zack Snyder's Justice League, you could be watching all 4 Kharis mummy movies. Another reason why I wanted to do a compilation is because all these movies are the same. Unlike the Frankenstein movies and the Dracula movies, they're all very interchangeable, and I could easily confuse one with the other. So I think it's just going to be better to do a compilation review of all 4 of these movies. And we're going to start off with The Mummy's Hand, which came out in 1940. The prologue to this movie is about the mummy Kharis, who has a very similar story to Imhotep. He was in love with Princess Ananka, but he was mummified for his crimes of trying to resurrect her, so he's mummified, except there's a little detail where his tongue was cut out, so he can't speak. Cut to 3,000 years later, 2 treasure seekers recruit a magician to help them fund their expedition to find Princess Ananka. The magician's daughter comes along with them because she does not trust these 2 men. So in trying to find Princess Ananka, they come across the tomb of Kharis, who is revealed to still be alive because the Egyptian high priests kept him alive and basically power him with tanna leaves as a method to protect Princess Ananka and kill those who would try to steal her tomb. That's the plot to The Mummy's Hand, and out of the 4 Kharis mummy movies, this might actually be the best one, or at the very least the one that's probably worth watching. Let's put a pin in that a little later, because the first half of the movie I thought was terrible. It's unbearable to watch. The 2 main characters are just nothing but jokesters. They try to have these big comic moments. There are comic moments with the magician that so do not work. And again, there's nothing more painful than watching a comedy that's trying hard to make you laugh, but it just doesn't. So I was just not having a pleasant time and was ready to write off this movie. Especially considering that the 2 main characters are just a poor man's Abbott and Costello, and it got me wondering, why didn't you just make an Abbott and Costello mummy movie? You might as well have. We'll get to that sometime later. But anyway, when we get to the second half of the movie, it reminds me of Son of Kong, where the first half is just really sluggish, and then the second half is the stuff that you want to see in one of these movies, but it just feels like it's too short. The performances are okay, even if I don't like the characters, and the second half does have sort of a creepy atmosphere to it. But more or less, this is an adventure movie at the end of the day. I wouldn't really say this is a full-on horror movie. I guess it's horror adjacent. And getting back to that little pin on why I think this is an important movie, regardless of my feelings, is that this is probably the most direct inspiration for Stephen Sommers' Mummy. The Boris Karloff one is a masterpiece, and obviously the remake follows Imhotep, but this is the movie that has the adventure aspect to it, which is something that the 1999 movie heavily leans on. I joked about this on Letterboxd, but I'd like to imagine that Stephen Sommers watched The Mummy's Hand and went, I can do this, but better. So that's why I say this movie is at least worth watching on some level, but at your own risk. So yeah, watch at your own risk. It's a slog to get through and you're gonna be annoyed by some of the characters, but the second half is fun, and if you're a big fan of the Brendan Fraser mummy like me, then this is at least worth checking out to see the inspiration for that remake. Next up, we jump over to The Mummy's Tomb, made in 1942, but this actually takes place 30 years after The Mummy's Hand, which took place in 1940, so this movie takes place in 1970. And the plot to this one is that the mummy Kharis, after seemingly getting killed at the end of Mummy's Hand, is brought back to life by another Egyptian priest through the tanna leaves to try to kill the people that desecrated his and Princess Ananka's tomb. Again, another plot point that the 1999 movie took. That and the fact that the mummy had his tongue cut out. This movie is just very generic. You have Kharis just stumbling around this whole movie, killing the people that desecrated his tomb, including the two main characters from the last movie, played by different actors, and you just don't care. It's just boring. There are not really any creepy moments to it, and Lon Chaney Jr. plays Kharis this time around. In the last movie, he was played by Tom Tyler, but because, again, The Wolfman was such a big hit, Universal started putting Lon Chaney Jr. in all their monster movies, so he's Kharis in this one and the next two movies, and much like his role as the Frankenstein monster, he doesn't have a lot to work with. I mean, the movie kind of cripples his ability to do anything interesting because, you know, they cut out his tongue. And it's just bizarre. There are some unintentionally funny moments in this movie. For example, the high priest who controls Kharis kidnaps the fiance of one of the sons of the main characters in the last movie and just wants to force her to be his bride. And he does it in a very creepy incel manner, only for him to get caught by the locals and just shot down instantly before he gets a chance to kill the main character. That got a laugh out of me, but really, there's not much to say about this film. Don't waste your money on it. While this movie does have that unintentionally funny moment, the intentional humor from the last movie is dialed down drastically, which I actually appreciate. But you can also see the cheapness of this movie, based on the fact that it's an hour long. The opening credits are played to a still image from the Wolfman, and they used stock footage of the angry mob from Frankenstein, to the point where if you squint, you can see Colin Clive in that stock footage. So yeah, this is just one I do not recommend at all. Don't waste your money on it. I mean, even at being an hour long, it's not worth it in my eyes. Next we come to The Mummy's Ghost, which came out in 1944, but takes place immediately after The Mummy's Tomb. The plot to this movie is that the new Egyptian high priest that has control over Kharis gives Kharis the order to try to find Princess Ananka's modern-day incarnation. So it's very much the same thing that happens in the Boris Karloff mummy, but Kharis apparently needed 3 movies to do what Imhotep did in 1. And its remake. This movie is nearly identical to the last one. Kharis just walks around as slow as he can and kills his victims who just can't seem to get away. It's very short. It has the main character's girl get abducted by the Egyptian high priest, who wants to take her as his own bride. However, Kharis doesn't take that lightly at all, kills his master, and then takes the woman into a swamp where it's truly revealed that she was Princess Ananka, and both Kharis and Ananka sink to the bottom of the swamp and die together. So considering how safe the last movie was, and how safe a majority of this movie was, that ending is pretty bold, so I more or less respect The Mummy's Ghost for going down that route, but otherwise, it's kind of more the same, and I also say don't waste your money on it. And then we come to The Mummy's Curse, which as of right now is the worst of the classic Universal monster movies that I have seen. This movie takes place 25 years after Ghost, meaning it takes place in 1995, and the plot is just downright stupid. Like, follow me on this, and try to make sense of it if you can. So the last movie, Kharis and Ananka sink to the bottom of a swamp and die together. This movie involves another Egyptian high priest taking control of Kharis to try and find Ananka's body. What? Like, it just baffles my mind that this plot, like, this is the plot of the movie. Like, you... Okay, I said with Ghost of Frankenstein, that movie feels like a soulless cash grab. And you can definitely see that it was, because it was made many years later after a supposed fitting conclusion to Son of Frankenstein. But with this movie came out the same year as its predecessor, meaning that either they were making it around the same time, or they made it immediately after The Mummy's Ghost came out. So you just undid a fitting ending to the Kharis mummy with a plot that makes no sense. You remove Kharis from his resting place with Ananka, only for the plot of the movie to involve Kharis finding Ananka? What? Like, that blows my mind on so many levels. Yeah, if you saw the other Mummy movies, this is just more of the same, except even lazier. Like, this movie is so half-assed that even Jack Pierce phones in his makeup work. Jack Pierce did do the makeup work for the mummy Kharis, much like he did with Imhotep, except with the mummy's curse, he decided to make a full-on mask for Lon Chaney Jr. to wear instead of an actual makeup job. It screams cheap all around. Like, Jack Pierce is a legendary makeup artist. I can only imagine that this wasn't his fault. He just was given the resources that he had and had to make do with what he had. It's not bad enough for me to say burn in hell, but really, don't waste your money on it. The plot is just too stupid, and it just baffled my mind that this movie even exists with that plot. So there you go. Those are my short reviews for all the Kharis Mummy movies. There's not really a whole lot to them. They are very generic. They blur together and don't have the same level of uniqueness like the Frankenstein movies did. But at the same time, they are very short, and at least with The Mummy's Hand, you can see the inspirations for the Brendan Fraser Mummy. So that does it for The Mummy. I know it's kind of abrupt that I just lumped all these movies into one review, but really, I didn't have enough to say that warrants one review for each film. But we're gonna move on to the next Universal monster, The Invisible Man. Now, much like with The Mummy, I've already reviewed the original Invisible Man. It is a classic, I absolutely love it, and I love the remake. But another great thing about the original Invisible Man is that there are no sequels involving the character of Jack Griffin. So the rest of the movies in this series involve a completely different invisible person, and we're gonna start off with the oddly titled The Invisible Man Returns. As of recording this video, I have not watched it yet, so I hope all these Invisible movies are at least worthy of talking about in their own reviews, but I'll find out soon enough. So thank you guys for watching this review, and I want to give a special thank you to my subscribers and YouTube members right over here. You guys are the reason why this channel continues to grow every day, and if you want to help to financially support the channel, you can do so via YouTube memberships for as little as $1.99 a month. But until next time, I want to know what you guys think about the Kharis Mummy movies. Whatever your opinions are on them, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button to get notifications. If you want to find me elsewhere on the internet, you can find me on these social media platforms and my theme park and travel channel right here on YouTube. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a good day and take care of yourselves.